Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and in today's video, we are finally going to be doing a top 10 diamond promotion upgrade video. Now, in a few of these, we are going to include some dark diamonds, mainly towards the top. So it's probably going to be about like 2 dark diamond characters and like 8 or 9. I realize that I just said top 10, but yeah, 8 or 9 silver diamond characters. These are going to represent some of the best free-to-play available characters that you can get in Marvel Strike Force and who I recommend that you upgrade. Now, characters that this is not going to include is the unfarmable. So basically anyone from the new characters from Extreme X-Men, Hive Mind, and Out of Time, and I guess Cabal as well is not going to be included in this list, but any characters that you can actively farm up to 7 yellow, which means that you can start activating those diamonds, are going to make the list. So if you're ready to hear who is on this for you, let's boil this down. Now, before we actually get started with the top 10 or 11 or however many characters I'm going to be covering, I just want to let people know, for those of you who might be curious as to where you get these diamonds, whether it's dark diamonds or whether it's silver diamonds in some instances. Now, I realize that they have been making it a little bit easier in terms of accessibility for this. I feel like now is an appropriate time to do one of these videos because it's a bit better than where it was really just kind of locked behind Diamond League in Cosmic Crucible. Now, as long as you're platinum or higher, that you have a chance to get silver diamonds. Also, dark diamonds do come primarily from the leaderboard rankings from the Cosmic Crucible season. I think there is like some small amounts maybe from some leaderboard events and things like that, and same with silver, maybe with silver. Actually, I'm not even sure. I think it's dark diamonds though that you do get as part of those. And of course, it depends on what league you're in. So if you're in platinum, like I happen to be, I'm kind of like on the cusp here between platinum and diamond, then you're going to be getting diamond dawn orb fragments all the way through platinum. And then if you're in diamond, you're actually getting diamond orb fragments, for better or for worse. I think I've heard from some people that they prefer actually opening multiple diamond dawn orbs versus the one like diamond orb that you get, unless you're really far up there. But it is what it is. So I think now is a good time to be talking about this. So let's jump on over to the tier list. And so coming in at number 10-ish, and I realized that I just called it a tier list, but this is not really a tier list. It's not. It is largely going to be in the order that I would consider upgrading them, but by no means is it absolute. So any of the characters that I'll be talking about in this video are characters that either I have upgraded myself or am looking to do it myself. So the first 1/2 characters that I want to talk about are in the Sinister Six roster, and that's actually going to be Vulture, and it's going to be Craven the Hunter. I think these two characters actually represent some of the best characters through regular silver diamond promotion credit upgrades that you can get for this team, and I absolutely love the Sinister Six. Anyone who's heard me talk about these guys ad nauseum, I love this. Now, some of these, you're probably seeing a lot of diamonds on my Sinister Six roster. A lot of these are actually just pulls, so I got lucky. Like for two diamond Doc Ock, I got lucky. 2 diamond Mysterio, I also got lucky, and I did not buy that myself. That and Swarm, I did not buy myself. So the only ones that I actually bought were the Craven the Hunter ones right now, because Vulture I got as part of the raid season reward. So that's why I'm kind of doing a 2-for-1 here, because I know that some people may have picked that up from the season rewards that were giving diamonds out for Vulture. But if you were not able to take advantage of that, I highly recommend it, because I think that Vulture is really, really good in the Sinister Six lineup. Not even just for like Cosmic Crucible, but just Sinister Six across the board. He is such an amazing character. He was probably one of the best original reworks. I think both him and Mysterio actually were really good. But the fact that Vulture is cheap to build, I am definitely taking him into Dark Dimension 7 as part of the City Lane. And so I have no problems putting diamonds on him. I think he's an amazing character. I gave him blue 5 ISO, very strong. He's like 500k plus. I am going to be taking him to 100, so I have no issues with that. Now, Craven the Hunter, the reason why he's on this list as well is because I think it's part of the Cosmic Crucible lineup. Like, he is insane. Like, he is really good. All of his attacks do attacks to everyone. So his damage is actually very good. And the bigger that Craven is, I know some people don't actually realize this is part of his kit, but his ultimate is if he actually lands a kill, they cannot be revived. And I've actually had that come into clutch situations, and I can see this, like, because right now they have that clearing of the revive once mechanism with the Sinister and Superior 6, but that's not always going to be there. And so a skill like this and him actually landing those kills on his ultimate is going to be very clutch in some situations. And I think that Craven is a really great character. Now that he's recently become farmable, I think that, it's a really good opportunity to improve your Sinister and Superior 6 power by getting some diamonds onto Craven. So something that I would personally recommend. And I'm going to say this right at the beginning because I didn't mention it before, that anyone on this list is someone. I wouldn't take everyone up to 3. So my personal opinions about diamonds is that I think 1 and 2 is safe. I think 3 is something that I would keep just for some of the strongest characters that we might mention in the top 5 here. I prefer personally to spread out my power rather than going full on 3 diamonds on a single character. That being said, there is like 1 or 2 characters that I did buy up to 3, and that's really about it. The rest of them I've kind of spread out around 1 or 2 diamonds. Some people might have differences of opinions in terms of like what you should do. Should you take 1 character up to 3 or a bunch of characters to 1? I feel like spreading out my power a little bit more because I don't spend to get diamonds, so therefore it takes a little bit longer for me. But that's just my opinions anyways. So moving on to the next set of characters. And coming up next, we're doing a bit of a 2-for-1 here. Now, I'm talking about Secret Defenders. A lot of the characters that I'm recommending for diamonds are characters within the last 6 months, typically, unless they had an amazing rework, which we will talk about one of them. But for Secret Defenders, it's absolutely going to be Ghost Rider Robbie and Miss Marvel Hardlight. Photon, unfortunately, is also falling off, and Black Cat you can't get silver diamonds for anyway, so we won't be talking about her here. But Ghost Rider Robbie is such an insane damage character. Like, he just spits out so much damage when he is able to with the bleeds, how he takes advantage of that, and his overall damage is just like off the charts, honestly. Miss Marvel Hardlight, the reason why I am including her in this is because that the bigger she is, the more likely she is to not die and also resist, being able to get through some of these big heavy hitters that you're seeing in various game modes. And this is not even specific to Arena because obviously some people are still using her. I don't use her that much. But nonetheless, if you have a really big Miss Marvel Hardlight, especially as we get towards level 100, then you might be able to survive something like the Apocalypse Falcon Punch. That's what they're calling it, I guess. And some other really big hit attacks, the ability to take damage from Black Knight, for example, and all of these things as well. So I did upgrade her to 2 diamond. Like I said, I'm a little bit squeamish of upgrading characters to 3. I just prefer to kind of spread it out. And I don't know if I would take Miss Marvel to 3, but I think that she's definitely deserving of a 2. Characters that I would take to 3 would probably be the kind of the newest characters, because that means that they're going to last the longest as far as the opportunity cost goes. So because Secret Defenders it's not too old, but they're kind of a little bit old. That's why I wouldn't take them to 3 necessarily, but diamonds for 1 to 2 is definitely on the cards, and I think that this is still going to be a really great team. It's an arena team. Arena teams last forever across all game modes. We saw that with Infinity Watch, and Darkhold is falling off a little bit, but I still think that Secret Defenders, you're going to see some use for some time to come. So this is not a wasted investment on these characters. Now, I don't know what number we're at. I think we might be at like 7 or 6. I think because I have 11 characters. But anyways, it's in no particular order. But Icarus is going to be on this list. And I know what a lot of people are thinking is that Icarus is falling off. But I'm still using him. I'm using him in War. I'm using him in Cosmic Crucible. Believe it or not, that there is a lot of applicability still with Icarus just because of his kit. Now, Cersei, you don't really need that, but for Icarus, there's a lot of reasons why you need to improve his damage, and I think that he is still doing what he needs to do. I think that especially if you take him to level 100 and you get anywhere from 1 to 2 diamonds on him, that he's more than able to keep up. In fact, that Icarus, the Eternals are characters that they're not my first characters to take to the next gear tier, but they're pretty close behind. Like, I'm more than willing to put the gold into them, and then the gear tier will come later. So when it comes to tier 19, like, they're not going to be my first upgrades. But they may be quite, once I finish with Dark Dimension and all that stuff, they're going to come pretty close behind, because I still think that, I'm crossing my fingers that there are going to be some more Eternal characters coming out in the near future. I think this is just such an amazing duo, and we're starting to see more of this where there's going to be hybridization of different teams. We're seeing with Cabal as a 3-person team, so it wouldn't surprise me if they bring out another team that's maybe hero-based or mystic-based or whatever, that's going to be more of a 3-person or 4-person, not a complete team where you can still shovel the Eternals into them, because they're still really strong. And actually, I think for how old they are, they're actually some of the most held up characters that I've seen in a long time. You know, like 2.5 years, I think that we're going on. I believe it was November or October of 2021. So these are probably the oldest characters that are going to be on this list in this video here today. But I still personally think that Icarus holds up. So that's just my opinions anyway. So let's move on. Now, the next person on this list is not as old as Icarus, but probably the next oldest, you know, because I don't normally recommend characters that are more than a year old. I think we're maybe just past the 1 year mark on Kang. And Kang is still a really, really strong character. I think that he definitely still has some lifeblood in him. And I actually think that the fact that the Cabal team came out may have improved his lifespan a little bit more. A lot of people are talking about using characters like Mephisto with Cabal, right? But that's not going to happen for some time. So I think that very likely what we are going to see, you know, for the foreseeable 6 to 9 months is that you're going to see a Cabal team used with something like Kang and Titania, or I don't know. That's just my thoughts, Kang and Absurdman or whatever. You know, I think that there is a good place to take some of the best characters from Masters of Evil, pair them up with Cabal, and then boom, Bob's your uncle, and then you have some continuance for Kang. He is the strongest character from Masters of Evil. He has been useful for a very long time. His kit is very strong. His damage is very strong. I took him to 3 diamonds. Not entirely sure I would do 3 diamonds now because I feel some of that opportunity cost is kind of lost because of his age. But for sure, you know, I would still take him to 2 diamonds. It's just that I only have like maybe two characters. Honestly, I think Kang and one other character that I've upgraded myself to 3. Otherwise, I prefer to kind of do more at the 1 to 2 level, just like I mentioned earlier on. But Kang the Conqueror, still a really great character. So something I personally recommend for especially Cosmic Crucible. But I think that because of his speed bar mechanic and on offense, that you're going to see some of him coming back at you every now and then. So that's just my opinions. On to the next one. Okay, and so the reason why we're kind of talking about 11 characters in this video is because this one may be a little bit of a cop-out because a lot of people may have already got this for free. So the reason why I'm including Gambit in this list is because he is an insane character. Both for Cosmic Crucible, for Extreme X-Men. Extreme X-Men is an insane team. Now, most people did get some diamonds as a part of Escape from Kiln. Now, if you weren't able to take advantage of this, like luckily I was able to get a free 3 diamond, and that's the other 3 diamond character that I was talking about, because other than Kang and Gambit, I don't think I have any other characters that are at 3 diamond. I would recommend buying probably up to 2 diamond for Gambit if you were not able to take advantage of Escape from Kiln. You know, and that's a little bit unfortunate, but I think the Gambit is well worth it. Whether it's for raids, for the incursion raids, and now with the new difficulties, like it's more important than ever to get his power up, because he is like 90% of the damage. Well, maybe not that much in the raids, but in Cosmic Crucible, he's definitely like 90%. So the amount of damage that Gambit outputs is pretty insane. And so he's definitely worth it above every single other character on that team, including Nightcrawler, in my opinion, who's not farmable and wouldn't have been on this list anyways. But I probably would have put his diamonds in front of someone like Nightcrawler's, because I just think that he is so important, both in Cosmic Crucible, but in raids as well, that it gives him that value for the diamonds. So Gambit, if you can buy diamonds for him and you don't already have it, then I highly recommend it. All right, coming up next, Kestrel. So you might have been starting to see a pattern where I'm including largely what I believe to be the best character of a particular team, who I think deserves those diamonds more than others. Talked about it with Gambit, talked about it with Kang. I think that's the best way to go about spending your diamonds, is identifying that, in my opinion, the best character of the team and giving them a little bit more power than some of your other characters. And so for me, that's going to be Kestrel. Not just for Pegasus, but that is a good reason as well, especially with the new Incursion 2 difficulty raids. And when we do get Incursion Raid 3, I think Pegasus is still going to be used at that time. So, you know, having more power on Kestrel is always going to be good, because not only is it going to make it easier for you to do the raids, but it's also going to make it easier that you don't need to necessarily power up the other characters as much, because Kestrel's kind of doing a lot of the heavy lifting. That being said, Kestrel is still good in game modes like Cosmic Crucible. Whether you use her standalone, you know, as part of her pings do insane amounts of damage, or you're using her as part of the Pegasus team, you know, if you're building this team to the moon, I've seen some people put them in defense, but I do prefer to use them in offense against certain teams as well. Just depends on what you're going up against. But you would not regret putting more power into Kestrel, and so therefore Kestrel does make this list. We'll be moving on to the next one. Okay, and now this one, again, this was in no particular order, so you might be surprised why this one's coming up here now. But I do want to talk about Vol. Vol is going to be another one of those Kestrel types, but obviously is the best character for the Bifrost team. Now, as far as Bifrost as a full functioning team, yes, they're dropping off. Yes, I would only do as much as you need to do for the incursion raids, but I do think that Vol is a standout on the team and someone that you're going to be using for a while for a variety of different means. You know, whether it's to apply exposed on the special, you know, if you're using, who knows, this future exposed team that may or may not happen. But Vol is actually a very powerful character. Their damage stat is very, very high. Their stats across the board are very, very high. So I still see Vol being used as a standalone character in game modes like Cosmic Crucible, maybe Alliance War. A lot of people are using this weird Hero as Guardians Dormammu thing with Valkyrie and whatnot. But I still think that Vol is a very good character, and I am currently searching for diamonds for Vol. Bifrost is something that is not a struggle, but is something that I want to build up my power more for the raids. But I don't want to do it on the other characters because I don't think that they have a lot of value. I think that Vol will continue to have value as a standalone character because Vol is one of their OG characters, and typically they find a way for them to carry on, like they did with Kestrel with the Pegasus team. I wouldn't have any doubts that maybe that there will be something with Deathpool and maybe with Vol being moved on to another team in the future, and thus keeping the OG characters alive. So I think that having a 1 or 2 diamond Vol will kind of serve a good purpose, both for the raids and for Cosmic Crucible. I actually, while I use Vol primarily for cleanups, you never know what kind of seasons are going to come out for Cosmic Crucible that's going to bring Vol back into use as well. So it may sound a bit premature, but a lot of this value is going to be stemming from the raids, and then you're going to get some bonuses elsewhere. Just my opinions. I do like Vol, and I think that with their kit, you're going to see some value down the line. All right, and that ends the Silver Diamond promotion section, and now we've come to basically the end of the video, where I talk about the single best character to use your Dark Diamond promotion credits, and realistically the only one worth doing so, and that is Apocalypse. Now, even if Super Skrull had diamonds available to him, I honestly believe that Apocalypse would still be ahead of him. I think Apocalypse, because of his kit, is more important than anyone else right now for Dark Diamond promotion credits. I got him to 3 diamond immediately as he became available after the last season of Cosmic Crucible paid out, and I do not regret this one bit. So I used to have misgivings when it comes to Apocalypse, but I think now, you know, in where we're at right now, especially against black characters like Black Knight and things like that, I do believe that Apocalypse will stand the test of time even more than characters like Super Skrull. And so Apocalypse having that extra power is really going to be worth it. And I'm only at level 98, you know, and he's just such an amazing character. I'm using him in Arena. I am not using Super Skrull, and that has nothing to do with the difference in power. It just solely has to do with Apocalypse and how he functions as his kit, right? The fact that he just does like flat out like a crap ton of damage when he's empowered, and like is this one, right? You know, it does 60%, but also the amount of damage, and then it gets offense up to do this. You know, that's more power that you're going to want to have, right? So you're going to do 60% of target's max health plus the damage that it does, and you want to have that do as much as physically possible so that you can kill someone and Falcon punch them or whatever the hell it is. And so getting Apocalypse to a 3 diamond state should be your first priority. Like, yes, I'll show you the Dark Diamond chart actually, because I thought I had it here somewhere. And the characters that you could hypothetically upgrade, that's not him, right? But none of these characters are more important than Apocalypse. So you can see here on the right-hand side, these are characters that do have diamonds available. Ultimates, Ultron, Doctor Doom, Dormammu, Apocalypse, the Horseman, Zombie Iron Man, and Spider-Man Big Time currently. I think that's the list. I don't believe that there's any diamonds for the other characters available yet. And none of them are more important than Apocalypse. So yes, this did not take very long to discuss, but I thought, because some people have asked me before, even though I've said this in other videos, I just wanted to bring it up in this one because, you know, we're here talking about diamonds and things like that, that even if Super Skrull was to be available for purchase, I do not believe that he would be more important than upgrading your Apocalypse. So if you have Apocalypse, if you have big Apocalypse, get diamonds on him ASAP, which then also means, by the way, you know, that you should also prioritize his 7 red more than someone like Super Skrull, who's going to cost twice as much as Apocalypse to upgrade. or the red star portion as well. So Apocalypse is such a high priority. Make sure you do that. So hopefully some of this was helpful. I know that diamonds can be a little bit awkward because it depends on, how fast you're accumulating them. What tier are you in Cosmic Crucible? Where are you getting diamond credits and things like that. There are actually available in the Strike Pass as well if you pay for it. It's not a lot. It's like 100. Otherwise, you do have to kind of convert some of your Elite 7 credits and stuff like that, which I do recommend doing as well, into diamond promotion credits that way. So depending on like how hardcore you play, I suppose you're gonna have a varying amount of diamond credits. But I wanted to kind of list some of the top characters, in my opinion, that you should be paying attention to with your diamond credits and who to upgrade. And really, at the end of the, if you wanted a TLDR version, upgrade the 1 to 2 best characters on each team, and you really need to justify their usage. If you're using them every single day, especially, or if you're using them for really high tier content, then they're characters that deserve it. But I really want to focus on that kind of top character on each team, because you're only going to have so many diamond promotion credits to spread around. That's just my thoughts anyways. Let me know if I missed something in the comments down below that you think I should have included, and maybe you'll meet the list for next time. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your week, everybody, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon, signing out.